Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a cat. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the head. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. Draw another circle around the head circle as a guide for the front part of the body. Use the small marks method to draw this circle too. First, make a few small marks to indicate the sides of the circle, and then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. Make this circle about 1.5 times the size of the first circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video to draw at your own pace. To the right, draw another circle as a guide for the back portion of the body. Draw this circle slightly bigger than the head circle. Place this circle higher up. The edges of the body circles should touch. Inside the head circle, draw a curved horizontal line. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features. At the top, draw a curved vertical line for another construction guide. On the bottom half of the head, draw a small circle as a guide for the muzzle. Pay attention to the size of this circle in relation to the head circle. The bottom edge of this circle should be outside of the head. On top of the head, draw two small triangular shapes as guides for the ears. The ears will be pointing backward, so draw them low on the sides of the head. Under the front body circle, draw a long vertical line as a guide for the front leg. Bend the bottom of the line to the left to indicate the foot. To the right, draw a long angled line as a guide for the other front leg. Bend the line a couple of times to indicate the joint and the foot. Under the circle on the right, draw a long angled line as a guide for the hind leg. Bend the line a couple of times in the middle to indicate the joints and again at the bottom for the foot. This line should be long in relation to the body. To the left, draw a similar line as a guide for the other hind leg. The top of this line will be hidden behind the body. Connect the body circles at the top using a long curved line to create the guide for the arched back. Curve the line so that it's similar to a small hill. Connect the circles at the bottom using a shorter curved line. On the right side of the body, draw a long curved line as a guide for the tail. The tail should curve down and to the right. Pay attention to the length of this line in relation to the body. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch two small circles for the eyes. Place the eyes on top of the horizontal construction guide and on either side of the vertical guide. The eyes should be small in relation to the head. When you get the sizes and positions of the eyes right, darken the shapes. Draw an angled line for the top edge of each eye for the furrowed brow. The eyes should be close to the top edge of the muzzle. Make the sides of the eyes pointier for the corners of the eyes. Make the edges of the eyes thick and dark. Leave the insides of the eyes blank for a spooky look. Draw a couple of short lines between the eyes to emphasize the furrowed brow. Curve the lines up toward the middle of the head. Draw a couple more lines above the eyes for the sides of the brow. Draw the lines using short strokes to indicate a furry texture. Inside the muzzle, lightly sketch a small triangle for the nose. Place the nose near the left edge of the initial circle. When you get the size and position of the nose right, darken the shape. Use a wavy line to darken the top edge of the nose. Draw two small curved lines on the sides of the shape for the nostrils. Draw a small line on the bottom of the nose. Draw a short line on the left side for the top of the muzzle. Under the nose, draw a long angled line for the mouth. Extend the line to the left and then up to create the side of the muzzle. Follow the path of the circle as you draw this side of the line. On the right side, bend the line upward too to create the other side of the muzzle. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the line when you get the shape right. The line should be similar to the letter W. On the right side, draw a short line for the side of the mouth. Draw two small triangular shapes along the bottom edge of the mouth for the teeth. At the bottom, draw a curved line for the mouth's opening. Follow the path of the initial circle as you draw this shape. Darken the line only when you get the shape right. Below that, draw another curved line for the lower jaw. Follow the curvature of the open mouth as you draw this line. Draw this line using short strokes to create a furry texture. Draw two small triangular shapes along the bottom edge of the open mouth for more teeth. Inside the mouth, draw a couple of curved lines for the tongue. Use the triangular shape on the top right side as a guide to draw the ear. Darken the lines but make the shape more curved. Add a few short strokes at the bottom for the furry base of the ear. Use the shape on the left as a guide to draw the other ear the same way. Darken the shape and add a few short strokes for fur at the bottom. Use the first circle as a guide to draw the rest of the head. Follow the basic path of the circle to create the shape of the head. Use a series of short strokes and small angled lines as you follow the path of the circle to create a furry texture. Leave a few gaps as you darken the right edge of the head. Make the left side of the head slightly thinner than the initial guideline. Add a few more lines inside the head to emphasize the structure. Use the second line from the left that's under the body as a guide to draw the front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top of the leg wide and gradually make it thinner toward the bottom. Curve the shape of the leg around the guide to create the joints. Make the bottom part of the foot curved. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. The top of the leg will be inside the body. Use a few short strokes to indicate fur. The foot should be raised as it steps forward. At the bottom, draw a series of short curved lines to separate the toes. Use the line on the left as a guide to draw the other front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top of the shape slightly wider than the bottom. Curve the bottom of the shape to the left for the foot. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Use a few short strokes to create a furry texture. Inside the foot, draw a couple of short lines to separate the toes. Inside each toe, draw a tiny triangular shape for the claws. Use the angled line on the far right side as a guide to draw the hind leg. Just like with the front legs, first lightly sketch the shape of the hind leg around the guideline. Make the top of the leg wide and then gradually make it thinner toward the bottom. The top of the hind leg should be wider than the top of the front leg. At the bottom, keep the edges of the leg close to the guide so that the shape is thin. When you get the shape of the hind leg right, darken the lines. Use a few short strokes as you darken the shape for a furry texture. Bend the middle of the shape to create the joint. Inside the foot, draw a couple of short lines to separate the toes. Inside each toe, draw a tiny triangular shape for the claws. Use the angled line on the left as a guide to draw the other hind leg the same way. Lightly sketch the leg around the guides and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Bend the shape to indicate the joint and the foot. At the bottom, draw the toes using short curved lines and add the claws using small triangular shapes. Use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Darken the outer edges of the initial guides to create the shape of the body. As you darken the edges, use angled lines and short strokes to create a furry texture. Draw longer lines to make the fur stand. Don't overlap the legs that are on this side of the body as you draw the underside. Add a few short strokes within the body for structure. Use the curved line on the right as a guide to draw the tail. Lightly sketch the shape of the tail around the guideline. Make the shape of the tail wide. When you get the shape of the tail right, darken the lines. Use angled shapes and short strokes as you darken the lines for the raised fur on the tail. Make the tip of the tail round. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Use a dark value across the body to create black fur. Leave a few sections blank to create highlights on the dark fur. Highlights will give the figure more dimension and volume. Pick a light source as you shade so that the highlights are consistent throughout the body. Here the light source is coming from the top, so most of the highlights will be on the top sections of the shapes. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. Darken the final lines to emphasize the shapes. Shading can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep shading until you're happy with the result, and that's it for the cat. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.